hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean, yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I'm going to show you how I made these awesome hot plates for the spring for my home using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So this is the little glass cutting boards they have at the Dollar Tree. They have them in the squares and the circles, and you can use either one. I'm going to use the squares today. They have a smooth side and a rough side, and they have the rough side up. I kind of prefer the smooth side up, but I'm just taking the little rubber feet off of the bottom of it, and I'm saving those for later. They do leave behind a little bit of adhesive, but I just go in there with some Goo Gone and clean that up until we have a smooth surface. Now, about, 9 months ago, I made a video where I made some of these, and so I wanted to try it again. I needed some more. I'm still using the ones I made from last year. They've held up great. I use them as hot plates for my granite countertops, not really as much for cutting boards, because I don't think it's great for knives to cut on glass. But we are going to make 2 more today, one for St. Patrick's Day and one for Easter. So I got the feet off, I got all the residue off, and then this is the vinyl that we're going to use. This is Oracal 651 vinyl in the matte white. And I just cut out the size of the cutting board, which was 7.75 inches, and I just did a square on my Cricut design space. So easy peasy. Just lining that up and sticking it on, trying to get it on there as good as I can. I don't really want to have to pull it off and put it back on there. And I am smoothing it out. So I attached it to the rough side because I really like the smooth side on top. This is the image that we're going to do that I designed and printed on my sublimation paper. You don't have to mirror when you do this technique, so that's different for sublimation. So I put down my Cricut mat, just some wax paper, my sublimation design, and then vinyl touching the sublimation design. The image is actually going to sublimate all the way through the vinyl and show through the glass. So covering the whole thing with wax paper, and I go in at 350 for 4 minutes. This is what one of my viewers told me to do. They told me to do it like this, which is kind of upside down of what I've done before. Everything in it, and to decrease the temperature and to do it for 4 minutes. Now, it looks pretty good when I go to look at it. It's extremely hot. I'm kind of checking it out. I do kind of make a mistake right here because the paper seems like it's coming off, and I'm like, oh. But it was way too hot for the paper to be coming off that easily. The paper usually sticks for me. So I took it to the sink and soaked it in cold water, cooled down the board, and started peeling off the paper. And most of the paper came off, and I'm cleaning up the rest with just baby wipes. But you'll see when I started pulling the paper back, I ripped some of the vinyl. So I'm trying to just melt it back down a little bit. There's going to be a few holes there, but it's not real noticeable. It's kind of like in the middle of the shamrock. And so I think it's salvageable. So how I'm going to salvage it is I'm just going to try to paint it, because this is going to be on the back and it's going to be covered with cork anyway, so you're not going to be able to see that part. And I think that is a pretty good solution. I didn't want to scrap it because otherwise it looked pretty good. I usually have done the sublimation paper on top and the glass on the bottom. So this was kind of different from what I've done before, but I wanted to try it because one of my viewers told me that's how they did theirs. Now, these are those adhesive cork sheets from the Dollar Tree. I like to put these on the bottom of them because it insulates the hot plate and kind of protects my counters as well. They're exactly the right width, but not the right height. So I'm just going to use one of them to draw on the other one. That way I'll know how to cut a perfect square. And they're 7.75 inches, just like the cutting board. So that's convenient. So I'm just going to cut those with regular scissors. It's really easy to work with this stuff. I love it. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut 2 because I want to make 2 cutting boards today. So just peeling off the backing, and it's sticky, and I can go ahead and put my new hot plate on there, my lucky hot plate, and just trying to line it up. If you don't get it on there very good, it's really easy to use like a sanding sponge to get off any of the excess that hangs over, but looking pretty good. I really like this one. I can make anything for beach, even all the holidays. So just reattaching those same feet. They still have some sticky stuff left on them, and this one is ready to go. I think it turned out really pretty. We have a shamrock on the beach. And I will share the images below that I designed in Canva for both of these hot plates today in case you want to use them. Okay, this is my second attempt. Now, spoiler, I have 4 attempts here and I only end up with 2 projects. So I have some problems here. So this is that Oracal 651 again. I cut 7.75 inches. And this time I'm attaching it to the smooth side. Because my viewer told me to attach it to the smooth side, not the rough side, which I've always done before. Now I get it on there and there was tons of air bubbles. So I'm like, okay, here, wait a minute. Let me try again. And so again, trying to attach the smooth side to the vinyl, not the rough side. Just gonna try all different kinds of things today and see what works best. So I get it on there, I try to roll it out. There's still air bubbles, like all over the place. But I'm thinking maybe when the vinyl like melts to the glass that the air bubbles will come out. At least I'm hoping so. In the meantime, I'm just trying to get it down as smooth as I can get it. And this is the image that I designed on Canva for this board. It's some Easter eggs on the beach. So again, wax paper, my design, and then the vinyl on it with the glass up. I'm going to do this way again, like my viewer told me to do it, this time trying to sublimate on the smooth side of the cutting board. And then covering that with another sheet of wax paper. And this time I'm going to go in at 350 for 4 minutes again, 2 minutes twice. And 350 is a little lower temperature than I'm used to working with, but I'm going with my best recommendations here to see how this worked. But look, there's air bubbles everywhere. This one was like a total failure. I don't know why, but I have such better luck doing sublimation on the rough side of these boards. And I like how it looks better too with the smooth side up. So this has just got air bubbles everywhere. Like really nothing I can do to save it. So it was on the smooth side, so I was actually able, with a little bit of effort, to peel it off and to use this same glass cutting board again. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to clean it up and we're going to go in with another attempt. Now this is not Oracal 651 matte white vinyl. It's Dollar Tree Cricut vinyl and the permanent white glossy. No idea if this is going to work, but I love trying new things. So I cut it out on my Cricut, attached it to the rough side because the rough side always works better for me. This time I'm going to do it the way I've traditionally done it, where I'm just going to kind of make it all gooey. I'm just heating that up, trying to melt that onto my cutting board on the rough side. So it'll kind of take on the texture of the hot plate. And it got down pretty good. And I'm going to go in and I wasn't so sure. I could still see some air bubbles in there and I was a little worried after what happened the last time. So I melted on there a little bit more. And this time I'm going to do all the sublimation paper on top and the glass on the bottom, which I've done in the past, and it's worked better for me. So I don't know if it's because I don't have a heat press. I'm actually just using my Cricut Easy Press 2. I don't know. I don't know if that's why it works better for me, but it does. But I'm going to go ahead and line it up like before so I can see exactly where the sides of my image are. And I'm going to use some heat tape, and I'm going to tape my glass cutting board to my sublimation paper. but then flip it, trying to keep it on there. It's kind of hot because I melted it on there, so trying not to burn myself. More wax paper. This time I'm going to up the heat to 385, and I'm going to go in for 2.5 minutes, not 4. 2.5 minutes is what's worked for me in the past, so I wanted to see if this would work, but again, no idea if this is going to work with cheap Dollar Tree vinyl. So this was a fun experiment. So I'm going to take it, it's super hot, and I'm going to take it to my sink, and I'm going to soak it in cold water and start peeling off the paper because, of course, it is stuck. It seems to stick even more when you do the paper on top, too. So you can kind of see the vinyl is melted around the edges. So I went in, I washed the paper off the back, cooled down the tray, and I'm just using a baby wipe and going all over the back, trying to get off any of the remaining paper to see if this worked or not. It did work. I was very surprised, but all of the vinyl was melted along the edges, kind of like bad. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Attempt number 3 for this Easter one. I wasn't able to salvage that because that was really stuck to that one. So I have a third one of these glass cutting boards, and I'm going to use Oracal 651 again. This time attaching it to the rough side because that seems to be my lucky side. Making sure I have it down and I get any wrinkles out of this one. And I'm going to go in and kind of do the same thing as I did with the Dollar Tree vinyl. I'm going to put down my wax paper. I'm going to kind of cut out this design because for some reason my Sublimation printer printed it a little crooked. And I will include my Sublimation paper, my Sublimation printer, ink, all that good stuff down in the description of this video. And I just cut like 2 sides so I could kind of line up where that's going to need to be. And I am just going to kind of sit it on there. It's going to stick anyway. I'm not even going to bother taping it. And I up the heat again to 400 degrees. And I'm going to go in 400 degrees for 2.5 minutes because that is what I had success with in my last video that I did last year. So I'm going to take it to the sink again, dip it in cold water, and start peeling off the paper. The paper really stuck on this one. And so I did have to work at it with a little baby wipe here to really roll off and get off all of that excess paper on the back. And I had really good results with this one. Pretty much equivalent to that first attempt with the shamrock. The only problem is I had a little bit of melting at the top on the vinyl, but nothing like what the Dollar Tree vinyl did. Was very impressed that the Dollar Tree vinyl worked at all. That was a total experiment. But I haven't tried like Cricut brand or anything like that, but I've heard some people can use it. I'm not so sure how important the mat is. Like this is a mat. I don't know, but this is the end of it. So I might have to try something else. And then I'm going to attach that other adhesive cork that we cut into a square, reattach the feet on this one, and we have our happy Easter one. Okay, guys. Are you ready for the final reveal? Here we go. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you have any great tips for me. And don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, bye.
Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach with our friends.